Am I the a-hole for telling my sister she is a hypocrite to judge us for not adopting when she only adopted as a last resort? I am 27 male and my wife 27 female are unable to have children together naturally. Our fertility doctor has said our best chance at having biological children is in vitro fertilization, and we are now working our butts off to make that happen for us. My family is aware of our struggles to conceive, and they know we have decided to pursue IVF. My sister, Jane 43 female, has been vocally outspoken about her disgust at our decision. She told us that my wife, being adopted, should be thinking of adoption before any form of fertility treatment. She has ranted about how IVF is unethical and how we are going to mess up our kids for life. She has focused most of her anger on my wife, and I have stepped in each and every time and told her to knock it off and to keep her opinions to herself. She questions my wife every step of the way about rejecting adoption and how her family must feel to know she would rather have her own bio baby instead of adopting when they adopted her. My wife opened up to Jane, which is something I did not think she needed to. And I told my wife as much, but she wanted to. She told Jane that adoption is not always an ethical option, and while it can be such an amazing thing and bring so much joy to everyone, adoption is nowhere close to perfect. She also shared that throughout her life, she felt like an outsider because she didn't resemble anyone in her family. Comments were frequently made about her siblings' biological children of her parents looking like family members, with references to twins highlighting their resemblances. Being the only child who never experienced that and feeling like the one who stood out was emotionally burdensome. While she acknowledged that her parents and siblings loved her as their own, she was aware that the extended family viewed her as the adopted child, someone who wasn't truly part of them. She mentioned how both her birth parents rejected her when she reached out for contact, and how it all made her long for a genetic connection to the family she creates. She told Jane she can have that. It would just cost, but she could not in good conscience adopt when it would be her last choice. Jane called her names and told her she was disgusting and should be ashamed for viewing things this way. My wife was so upset after talking to Jane. Then Jane called me a few days later and told me I should talk to my wife about how she needs to fix her thinking. I hated hearing my sister say that about my wife, and I told Jane that she was the biggest hypocrite because she only adopted her kids as a last resort. After being told again and again that intrauterine insemination and in vitro fertilization would not work for her, and that surrogacy wouldn't either, I told her we never judged her for how she started her family, but I did judge her for having gone through all that and being so hard on my wife. I told her it was disgusting and she should be doing better. Jane insisted that I had no right to bring up her infertility and bluntly told me to go take a hike. Am I the a-hole?
Here are the top comments.
Not the a-hole. Your wife needs to block Jane. I would suggest you do too, but your wife at least needs to be protected. Jane is heartless. She has a lot of nerve disregarding your wife's lived experience being an adoptee and needs to stay in her lane.
To begin, how you decide to have kids is none of Jane's business. While she's correct about adoption having the potential to be positive, it doesn't always turn out that way. It can also be a traumatic experience for multiple parties, as evidenced by your wife.
Not the a-hole, but I think the reason your sister is coming down on your wife so much is because if you and your wife have a bio kid, she will be more angry and jealous that she couldn't do it. Your sister sounds like the type of person, if she can't have it, no one should be able to do it any other way but the way she did it. Basically, your sister is mad that you may have a chance at a bio kid while she never had a chance.